Just because in your particular situation that you may be sitting in today, you may be confronted with a whole lot of unnecessary roughness. You may be in a place in your life where you're just getting resistance and chaotic situations, circumstances, dysfunction, experiencing toxic, crazy people. But I want you to understand, baby, don't forget that the light is still shining in your life. You may not see the sun right now, but it's evidence that the light is still shining in your life. You stumbled on this video for a reason, for God to simply remind you that although it may look a little cloudy in your life, even though it seems like it's storming in your world, but I want you to know today that God is still present. So this morning, I was just having a brief devotion with God, talking to him, riding in my car, and just communing with him. You know how it is just to sit up and talk to God about what's going on with your life and pray for everybody and Shonda thank him. And God interrupted my praise and began to minister to me. So I'm sitting in the car like, uh-oh, here we go. And God says, Shonda, I want you to know this. I want you to tell the community today that just because they don't see the sun shining in their lives doesn't mean that it ain't. Just because you don't see the sun shining in your life doesn't mean that it ain't. I'm like, what are you talking about? God said, look up. I looked up. God says, the sun ain't shining. I'm like, no, it ain't. But it's still light outside. I'm like, huh? Just because in your particular situation that you may be sitting in today, you may be confronted with a whole lot of unnecessary roughness. You may be in a place in your life where you're just getting resistance and chaotic situations, circumstances, dysfunction, experiencing toxic, crazy people. But I want you to understand, baby, don't forget that the light is still shining in your life. You may not see the sun right now, but it's evidence that the light is still shining in your life. You stumbled on this video for a reason, for God to simply remind you that although it may look a little cloudy in your life, even though it seems like it's storming in your world, but I want you to know today that God is still present. He's like that light that shines when there is no sun. He's like that ray of light that just glistens in the midst of your darkness. He is that spirit that will pull you up out of a dark, barren place and put you on a mountaintop if you believe that the sun is still shining even though you don't see it. I want you to know, baby, that the devil is so concerned about putting obstacles in our way, visuals in our way, telegraphic things in our way, things in our ear, just situations and circumstances, because he wants to pull up words. He wants to pull up what God has planted in your heart so that it will never produce for you. And you have to understand that we are knee deep in a spiritual war. You can see the residue of what's going on in the heavens in your life, good or bad. You can see it. And I want you to know that what God has called you to do, it's something different. No one ever has done this in your family. You are the one that God chose and he called to do specific works. And when you're called to do great things in your life, sometimes the enemy will try to put you in a spot where all you can see is darkness, or all you experience is things that are not normal. All you have going on in your life seems like madness and mayhem when you look at your neighbor and it seems like everything is fine for them. And I want to reach out and just touch somebody in your spirit today to let you know, baby, just because you don't see the sun shining right now doesn't mean that it ain't. It's amazing how God will use metaphors to get our attention or grab our attention. It's amazing how when you spend time with the Lord and you begin to just delight in him, he will begin to minister to you. It's amazing how you can be in the midst of a drought, in the midst of a broken heart, in the midst of grieving and a loss. And God will literally use that as an opportunity to mend your heart and minister to you. He will use that to give you more of an edge when you talk. Even the demons in hell know your voice. He will use that for you to be able to transform the lives of everybody that is attached to you that you don't see yet. He will use that to remind you of who he is. He will use that to define you and to really begin to make you over in such a way that no matter what the overcast may be in your life, you understand that the sun is still shining. Come on, somebody. Even when it's dark outside, baby, it's still shining. I want you to listen to me right now. Even though trials and tribulations may come in your life, I want you to keep your mind stayed on thee, because what? The sun is still shining. What Jesus says, baby, it's always shining. Look around you today. Look at the beauty of the Lord, the brilliance of the Lord. Look at the creation of the Lord, the way that he orchestrates things, the way that he created them in the earth, the way you could just look at a mountain and you see trees for days, the way you could just look at the ocean and just see that it's another whole life in there. God is great and he is amazing. And because we have him backing us, who in the world has the audacity and spirit to be against us? Because we're linked up with the master. You know what that means? You simply can't lose. You may learn, but you simply will not lose. And although there may be some darkness in your situation, there may be an overcast in your life, but I want you to know, just because you don't see the sun, don't mean it ain't shining for you. When I look out here in the clouds today, it's still light outside. That's evidence that the sun is still shining. Come on, somebody. When it's dark outside and the moon begins to be put on display, that's your evidence. Come on today, that the sun is still shining. When you wake up and you're feeling down in your heart, but you can think of the goodness in Jesus, of what he's done for you, and you get excited. That's your evidence, baby, that the sun is still shining. When you go to pay for that coffee, come on today, and somebody say, oh, don't worry about it, it's on me. That's evidence that the sun is still shining. When you are in a place in your life when you don't have anyone else, but you can be happy all by yourself, that is evidence, baby, that the sun is still shining. When you woke up this morning and you can move your hands and you were still breathing, come on today, that is evidence that the sun is still shining. When you can praise God in the midst of hell, no matter what you're going through, that's your evidence, baby, that the sun is still shining on you. So don't you ever be discouraged about he say, she say. Don't ever be discouraged about a little darkness on display in your life. Don't you ever be discouraged because you may be experiencing some unnecessary roughness in your life. Just look up to the heavens, baby. And I want you to understand that it may be an overcast right now, but I want you to know that the Lord talked to me and he told me to tell you specifically that the sun is still shining. And until the next video, guys, peace, because I still be believing in you. And I want you to know, baby, it ain't ever personal. It's always spiritual. Bye now.